Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us,
Smoke it if you've got it.
And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Dan Rockwood.
And this is Collateral Gaming with
Victims and Villains.
Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from Houston, Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. Joining me once again for part 2 of our season finale is Mr. Dan Rockwood. How's it going, bro?
It's going awesome. Thank you for having me on this finale. I am so excited to get into the Switch 2. I've been having a lot of fun with this old device.
Hell yes, brother. Me too. We have eagerly anticipated the launch, as we mentioned in part 1 of this console. We've all talked about it, for months and months now, up to and even before pre-orders and release dates were ever announced. So it's been a journey that we've kind of just been bonded over together, right?
Yeah, it's been funny following this because we've known it's been coming for a long time. People have been talking about it for years. Originally, we thought we might get a Switch Pro, and then it ended up just being the Switch 2 all along. And it, as much as we were anticipating it, Nintendo didn't leave a whole lot of time between when they actually revealed it and then when we got the release date, and then of course getting it in our hands. So I mean, in a lot of ways, we've waited years for this thing, but the official announcements really didn't come until earlier this year. So yeah. We were able to kind of ramp up excitement and get in and get it, and it has delivered on many fronts as we've been playing a whole bunch of stuff. Ash, before we started, you were going through the list of games and demos that you've been trying out on this thing, and there is a lot to play. There's no shortage of stuff to check out.
No, not at all. And I was a little bit worried about that at launch. I mean, I looked at the library and I was like, I don't know, does this really justify my purchase? I know I wanted the latest tech, but do I have enough fun games to play on it to enjoy? But no, actually, just kind of diving as deep into that library as I could, because I set out to do that. I went to try every Switch 2 game that I could. There's a few on my list that I still want to buy, but just... I've got to have the budget and the time set aside to actually play games. A lot of these games, it's like, okay, yeah, I just got to play this and then, try it out. And when am I ever going to pick it up again? I don't know, but I have it now.
The timing thing is so real, because I've been struggling with that as well and trying to want to go one game at a time. I've been focusing a lot on Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I've put like 20 hours into that game so far, and I'm still have not reached what I think most people consider to be the end game. I don't really know what to expect, but it's been a lot of fun to explore and discover. But I'm really excited for what we're going to be getting this year. I'm even more excited for what's going to be coming up. I'm anticipating a Nintendo Direct probably in the next few weeks to kind of lay things out for the holiday season, and we'll see where things go. But I think we've gotten a good mix of third-party support here in addition to the first-party games, and Nintendo is only going to be increasing what they're going to be providing for this console, and I think we're going to get a lot of really cool stuff over the next year or two. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well said, man. Well said. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the console itself, because that's something I kind of wanted to do with this season finale is, we talked about what was kind of the pack-in title, which was Mario Kart World. That was the launch title that they sold a bundle with. But for the second part of this review, I definitely wanted to dedicate some time to, talking about the Switch 2. We talked about our experiences, buying it, I remember, but having spent some time, because we're a couple months in after launch. Dan, what are your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 as a console?
It's impressive. I mean, what it does and what it is capable of. It's what I want Nintendo to put into a device. People will still compare it to the PlayStation 5, to the Xbox Series X, and in pure specs and capability, it does not measure up to what those consoles are capable of. But if you look at this as essentially a portable PS4 Pro, that is a more accurate description of what it's capable of doing. I've always been a mind of the gameplay and the fun you have, that comes first. The tech specs come second to me, but it's still fun to, get those benchmarks and see how games perform. To play a game like Mario Kart World with 24 racers on screen and environmental things and have no frame drops and no performance issues, that is really fun to have on a Nintendo console. I'm super looking forward to Metroid Prime Beyond and the 120 FPS mode, seeing what the 4K capabilities are. Like, I don't think Nintendo is necessarily going to be publishing specs for every game that they release. I do think Metroid is a good opportunity for them to show off what the console is capable of. So I do imagine there to be performance modes and things you can select, kind of like how PS5 and Xbox Series X do it. But there's just a lot packed into this, and a game that I would like to talk about and hear about, really, because I know you've played it. I haven't had the chance to really dive in, but we got Cyberpunk 2077 running on the Switch 2, and from what I understand, it runs pretty dang well. It's pretty impressive what they were able to pack into it. What is your experience with it, Ben?
It is pretty solid. I think they're targeting 40 frames per second in the performance mode. I know it's one of the games on the console that is actually taking advantage of the 120 hertz refresh rate. But that doesn't equate to 120 frames per second, unfortunately, in this case. It seems like all the third-party developers right now are still kind of struggling to really hit those frame rate benchmarks. What we're looking, for moving forward is like the Nintendo title, the first party title, or the title that was developed for the tech that's going to take full advantage of the hardware. And we've got plenty of that coming forward. But as far as Cyberpunk goes, I mean, it's a solid experience. I liked the mouse controls. I felt that they were very responsive. I tried out the motion controls as well, which felt more like a gimmick, but they're cool. I mean, okay, so they also just recently launched Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition on macOS, and I got that running at 120 frames per second on my Mac. So unfortunately now I don't really have a reason to go back to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, but it was a really cool thing. I liked playing through the portion of the game that I was playing that through, and I liked that I was able to transfer my progression over to my Mac.
Yeah, that's the thing that CDPR does that I love about them is their games are cross progression, and I experienced that with The Witcher 3. I got it on Steam to play on my Steam Deck, and then I realized the PS5 version, they were interchangeable, and so I was going back and forth playing a portable version and then playing on my console pretty frequently. So that's awesome, and that's one of the things that kind of motivates me to eventually pick up Cyberpunk. The fact that I could buy a couple different versions of it, especially if it's on sale, and bounce between my PC, my Switch, or wherever I want to play it. I think that's really cool.
Exactly.
Nintendo consoles for for a lot of us, they are there for those first party Nintendo titles. We pick them up to buy Zelda and Mario and Metroid, and we want to make sure that those games are always well optimized and run
Yeah.
really great on those systems. At the same time, I don't want to ignore the demographic of people. And there's a lot of people out there, especially with the Switch One, that's going to be the only video game system they pick up. And it's possible that will carry over to Switch 2. There will be people, especially younger people, who maybe get one for the holidays or something like that. The Switch 2 may very well be their only console. It could be the only place they have to play something like Cyberpunk or Tony Hawk or one of these other games. And so making sure that they run well and they get a good experience is an important part of it. So that's reassuring to me that a game like Cyberpunk runs at that FPS. And even if it's not hitting 60, even if the 120 is not running all the time the way that it wants to go, if it can be consistent, if we can get above 30, if it can get that sort of that hybrid mode between 30 and 60, and then I think that is a really good place to be, and that will make this an attractive console for someone, especially a few years from now, thinking, oh, maybe I'll pick up a Switch 2 and the Mario Kart World Bundle that I'm sure will be available for the next decade or so. But that will be very enticing. I mean, you pick up an original Nintendo Switch today, there are thousands of games for you to choose from. Go into the eShop and get however many you want. And I think Switch 2 is definitely going to be the same, especially with the backwards compatibility with Switch 1. We're just looking at a massive library, and that is a very strong thing for a console to have at launch.
Yeah, looking through the library of games that I've actually played, I do feel like I've had a lot of time invested into the console, and that's a good thing. That means that that this is a purchase that I did justify, because I found a lot of games that I want to continue playing on it. Both games that are available only on it and games that I could play otherwhere, but I've invested into Switch, and I've invested into Nintendo, and I think that that's a good investment. And I think that there is a demographic for this console. Is this console for everybody? Maybe not. I mean, is it the console that you're going to pick to play the best version of the cross-platform games? Probably not. Is it the console that you're going to pick as a reliable one that can, if this can be in 2025, this can be your only console and you'll be fine,
Yeah, and that's a great thing to be able to say for a Nintendo system. For a long time, I only had Nintendo up through the Wii and the Wii U. I got a gaming PC along the way, so I played a lot of stuff on Steam that I just had never experienced on other consoles. I don't use my gaming computer as much lately, and every now and then I think, oh, why is that? Why is I'm ignoring it? It's because I have a PS5 now, and a lot of games that I used to get on PC, I now like to get on PS5. So having a Nintendo console to be able to handle all these different kinds of games, especially if it gets a support from some of the major releases that are coming up. We've seen Microsoft and Xbox are now releasing their games on other consoles. PS5 is getting a lot. We were confirmed that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2. I have to imagine that they're going to continue doing that they're going to release more games. So we're already seeing Microsoft and Xbox Game Studio games come to there. So I think that there's a good opportunity for games to be ported over. We may even see Sony start doing that. And is Lego Horizon on Switch or Switch 2? I think they got a release for that.
Lego Horizon? I think Lego Horizon was at least a Switch 1 title.
I think so. So we're already seeing some of this stuff come over, and I think we're going to continue to see that, which is awesome. And I think it's going to be the backbone of what a successful console is. That being said, people buy Nintendo consoles to play Nintendo games, and I'm telling you, what is going to sell more of these next holiday season and the season after that? 3D Mario, Animal Crossing, and whatever their next Zelda is. I mean, that is going to be their three biggest things. They already got Mario Kart out, so those are the biggest ones that people, I think, will hold out and then say, okay, now I need a Switch 2 to be able to play this stuff.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's really what we're holding out for. Honestly, Metroid Prime 4 has been the most annoying cock tease of all time. It's like we're getting it this year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo even doubled down on that and came back and said and was like, yeah, you are getting it this year. Okay, but when? So my best guess is December. That's honestly what I think.
December. Off the top of your head, do you remember the Kirby Air Riders release date?
It's November, right?
I think it's coming November. So, I mean, maybe we'll get the double release in November. Nintendo, I feel like, has done that before, so it wouldn't be out of character for them. But I think this is going to be a December game. I think they had a lot of analysts look at this and say, look, Metroid, historically, not one of their top sellers. Metroid Dread was one of their best-selling, or may have been their best-selling Metroid game ever, and that shipped 3 million units, which is great, but it's not doing like Breath of the Wild numbers. And so I think they realize it's not necessarily going to be a big push for a holiday game. It wasn't necessarily going to be a big launch game. If they release it in December, that gives them more momentum to push more of these sales going into Q1 of next year, which may be kind of light right now as far as first parties. And then I think next spring, especially around the time of Summer Games Fest, that's when we're going to see Nintendo start ramping up. I don't know Nintendo, but I've been a video game fan long enough, and I've also worked in marketing for a decade. There is a multi-month, potentially multi-year plan of release dates on some whiteboard in some Nintendo office, and they have it mapped out. And when they start to project that sales are going to decline, that's when they're going to release their next big thing. So I think they have this generation pretty well road mapped out, and they have their teams working on the different projects in the order of priority based on what they see there.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, okay? Like, I think that some of it is kind of had to been some of it has been rushed. I think word got out of this too quickly, and I think they kind of had to move things along more quickly than they expected, and I think that shows in cases of like Metroid Prime 4, where I think Metroid Prime 4 is almost ready. There's just a couple kinks to work out because they realized, oh yeah, people really care that we said that it can run at 120 frames per second. Let's make sure it works, or we added a multiplayer component. I don't think they did, but let's say they did. Let's make sure it works. Right. That would be a crazy thing to surprise drop on us, but I can wish. Just whatever. There's some small thing that they wanted to make sure is perfect, and so yeah, they're not one. They're for a little bit they weren't 100% sure when they were going to be ready to do it, but now they're going to go ahead and announce that it's ready for December. I think because they built up so much hype with it and they teased it so early, Nintendo's also kind of had to circle back. But I heard even that there was a rumor that essentially something got swapped out. And ended up becoming it was either Donkey Kong or Kirby ended up getting swapped out instead of Metroid, and that's why we got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know, I mean, it's been confirmed the Mario team worked on Donkey Kong Bonanza, and so I think it's and that game plays very much. There's a lot like Odyssey. There's a lot of Mario Odyssey DNA in that game, and I think that it reinforces what that team could kind of go on to next, and what we might be able to expect from another a Super Mario game. But there's a lot. That I think we have to look forward to. If we look at the first party Nintendo stuff, it hasn't been a ton for launch, but that's always how launches go. You can't really judge a console based on its launch library, I feel like. So I would much rather them work on games and release things over the next few years. I feel like with PS4 and PS5 to an extent, it was 3 or 4 years in before I really started to feel like, okay, now we're getting into current gen capabilities with what some of these games are doing.
Yeah.
And Sony was developing so many games for PlayStation 4. There's still PlayStation 4 games being developed. Like that game, that console is still very much being supported by different developers. And, I definitely see a future where games will attempt to come to Switch 1 as well as Switch 2.
Yeah.
But it's to have Nintendo, the fact that they have, sure, there are some games being released on both, like Metroid Prime Beyond that we've seen, but their choice to release something like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart World specifically on Switch 2, I think bodes well that they're really diving deep into this new console generation and trying to support it the best that they can.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I'm more than anything, I'm just excited to really see what this console is capable of, and I think that we're starting to get that. I think I can actually think of a few instances, of games that have run consistently at 4K 60. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, is one. Yeah, it's been a really solid experience with the console so far.
It definitely has, and the fact that there were so many Switch 1 games that got free performance patches with Switch 2. I think we both dove into Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to check those out.
Yeah.
What was your experience revisiting those games? What do you think of those on Switch 2?
Oh man, that's the way that those games were meant to be played. 100%.
Yeah, totally agree.
Like
It was the way, so many people use emulation, and Breath of the Wild within days was being emulated on PC at 60 FPS and was being up-resed. And to be able to get that natively on a Nintendo console was just so cool. It's what we should have gotten originally. And it makes me excited for what the future of Zelda is going to be, seeing that, what this console can now handle. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, exactly. But it still shocks me when I launch Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and just see just how smooth that those games feel. It is a consistent 60 frames per second. Like it's really, really solid, and it's like, wow, no, this is how this was meant to be. This was what people were trying. This is why people were emulating those games, and now we have a console that's capable of realizing those to their true potential. And even more than that, they ended up adding, their little gimmicks so that they can justify being paid upgrades, which was the Nintendo Switch app thing. And I went all in on the experience. So I was like, all right. It was free with my Nintendo Switch Online subscription. So, you might as well get what you pay for. And they have these little memories and things that you can find on the app. And actually, what I found useful, I was hunting down the last few shrines that I'd never hunted down in Tears of the Kingdom. So I was just playing on my original file of the game, and I finally completed the last shrine using the in-game GPS feature on the Zelda notes.
Nice. Yeah, I experimented with that a little bit. I feel like I still have a good number of shrines left to experience because they added so many to this one compared to Breath of the Wild. So I should get back more into it and make a point to actually complete all those. But yeah, they just run so well. I started a new Breath of the Wild file, I think day one when I picked up the Switch, and I played through it for several hours and was just having fun. And it's like, this is such a joy to return to Hyrule and be able to, pick up all these like weapons and explore and, freeze water with my like abilities and stuff. Like it was just fun. I spent a lot more time on the Great Plateau than I feel like I did the first time around, because the first time, 8 years ago at this point, I wanted to just get out there and explore all of Hyrule. But now I was like, nah, I'm not in a rush. I know what's out there. Let's really take our time exploring the Great Plateau. And I feel like I discovered a few things that I probably totally missed last time around. So it was fun, talking to the old man and kind of seeing all of his different like setups around the plateau, and that was really fun. So great time for someone to jump into Breath of the Wild if they've never played it before. Like this is an amazing way to experience this game.
100%, yeah. I picked up a new playthrough of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 2, and it's been just an amazing experience. It is the ideal way to play these games. which are some of my favorite games of all time. So.
Oh yeah, I mean they're unbelievable and they're so good. And another unbelievable game from Switch One, Mario Odyssey got enhancements on Switch Two
Yes.
now, and I haven't had the opportunity to jump into Odyssey yet, but I've seen some screenshots. I've seen it running in the higher resolution. It looks incredible. What is your experience with it, Ben?
I played a little bit of Mario Odyssey on Switch 2. In fact, I barely even played Odyssey ever back in the day. I never bought the game, but I had played through, like, I don't know, the first tutorial area and a little bit beyond before. But it had been years, so I picked it up fresh on Switch 2. I mean, it was definitely a much better experience. I think Odyssey had I think it was just an increased resolution, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. At least that's what I had seen. But I mean, that game already looked beautiful, particularly like the deep woods level where you're just surrounded by these gigantic trees and exploring. It looks phenomenal with the new resolutions and some of the screenshots I've seen. I was like, oh wow, I was already blown away by how good a Mario game can look, and now it just looks even better.
So it's an increased resolution and a stable frame rate at 60 frames per second. And as far as I noticed, that it is a solid 4K 60. It's another, as I was mentioning earlier, showing what this console is really capable of. Is just elevating these experiences to what they are. Same thing with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. 4K 60 is what this console can do, and that's what it sold us. I'm waiting for the 120. I want to see the 1080 120 because they haven't really shown us that yet. But they told us 4K 60, and they've delivered 4K 60, both third party and first party.
This is the perfect place for us to do an awesome training montage, don't you think? We'll practice all sorts of awesome moves, one after the other, getting stronger, getting faster. Let's do this!
I am strong!
You and me, we're the best! Yeah, our montage will look so cool.
Yeah, it'll be really good to see what the future holds for this and what it's going to actually be able to unleash. I mean, the PS5 launched with 8K on the box, and I have yet to experience a game that has been able to actually do that. So it'll be fun to see how much of this is like marketing of like technically it's capable under the perfect circumstances, and how much are developers actually going to be able to move into it. But there's been a lot of really cool stuff on there. I know we've both been playing a lot of Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too.
For sure. Let's get into it because I've been putting a lot of time into that over the past month.
Yes. So yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza has been the surprising one for me. I can see why it's in the argument for Game of the Year. Given just its level design. It's the same team behind Mario Odyssey, and you can kind of see their approach, but what they've done to take the Donkey Kong IP into this open worldish format is just literally like it's Minecraft basically. Just break apart the world, just break anything. You know how like Breath of the Wild turned Zelda into, you can climb anything, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's incredible, and I think there's some videos out there that I haven't looked at personally, but it compares Donkey Kong, how it would have performed on Switch 1 versus Switch 2. And I think they had said they were originally developing it as a Switch 1 game and then realized, oh no, we need the new hardware to really be able to pull this off.
Yeah, I saw that, and I knew that going in, and I noticed that the difference that they were showing off looked like it was like foliage, or something. Like it was extra foliage and stuff. It looked better, but I was like, is that really the reason why they delayed it to Switch 2? What I think is that what they did is they delayed it so that they can have that consistent frame rate at 4K resolution.
And I haven't noticed any drops really in any of the areas I played in. And like I said, I'm about 20 hours in. I've experienced quite a number of the layers that you explore now. Just such creative level design. It's so much fun the way that they make it manageable and approachable. When I first heard about, well, you can, destroy all this terrain and dig down, I was like, well, that sounds like it could get really overwhelming really quickly. I like that the game allows you to get as in the weeds with that stuff as you want to. And for me, I explore a layer when I first get in, punch out a bunch of stuff, and then it's like, all right, let's go do the main objective. And I don't let myself get bogged too down on it. But there's just some really cool gameplay stuff and fun boss battles, and it's just been a really, really great experience. And to be able to take it on the go and play in handheld, it has been so much fun to have that and be able to just play it anywhere.
Solid, consistent experience in both docked and handheld modes. I noticed, you're going to get kind of a frame rate drop whenever the screen gets really, really busy. Like you're breaking apart a lot of shit in a really noisy area. And that's to be expected. The fact that the game can run as well as it can at all with all of that going on and nothing noticeable, it's actually pretty amazing. That's, in my opinion, that's why the game was made, was delayed and made for Switch 2. Because that they wanted to deliver a consistent experience, and they did. And honestly, just like the way that the level design, just how you're able to approach even like the sub objectives. Like it's a collectathon, like Mario Odyssey, but instead of moons, you're collecting the Banandium gems. You get the little animation that never gets old. Oh, banana.
Banana. It's so satisfying every time. I have seen people, or at least heard about people, you can do a no banana run in this game and not pick up any of them.
What?
You can be a completionist if you want and get all the bananas. There's so much to do. I have heard people... different critics have given this 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I've heard people say this is their favorite game ever of all time. I'm not quite there yet, but I will say I'm not at the end of the game. And my understanding from the non-spoiler, things that I've heard is the last several hours of the game are incredible. And I don't know what that means, and I don't know how is it going to be different from the layers. I don't know, is the gameplay going to shift? Is it going to be something different? I just have no clue. But I have heard repeatedly, especially game journalists that I've talked to, it's like, oh yeah, this was a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and then I got to the end game and I was like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10 game, and I'm like, what can they possibly do to make me like this game even more? So I'm trying to punch my way through and get to that portion. My understanding is there's a moment that things kind of shift very drastically, and I'm pretty sure I have not gotten there yet because it feels like more of the same. So I'm eager to see what people who have finished this game have been talking about, and I've been avoiding all the spoilers, so we'll see. But I feel like I'm in for a wild ride for the end of this game.
Yeah, so I'm in the jungle layer right now. I'm not too far into the game, but I've enjoyed enough of it. Like I know what it's about, and I'm pretty much I'm kind of a completionist. I'm a pseudo completionist. I'm, collecting what I notice and what I can grab, and whatever. Even buying maps and shit, to get all those little extra fossils and stuff. Which, I appreciate the way that they distribute everything, but I even like how the Vanadium gems actually can be used as a currency to purchase skills in the skill tree, So just kind of that light RPG mechanic. I felt like made collecting those a lot more rewarding.
It did, and I was really impressed by the skill tree. And let me tell you, and this was kind of by accident, I went into Donkey Kong Bonanza knowing nothing about this game, because when they announced it during the first big Switch 2 reveal, I had to leave for a work meeting, and all I saw was basically the title card of the game, and I was like, "Oh, cool, new Donkey Kong," and then I walked away. I didn't see anything, and then I missed the next direct that had the next trailer, and then they revealed more. And after a while, I was like, "Wait, like I've heard it's a Donkey Kong game, and you can apparently destroy all the terrain," and that's all I knew, and I had absolutely no idea. And I'm really happy that I avoided stuff for as long as I did, because when you get the first Bonanza transformation and that, I was like, I had no idea that was part of the game, and I was like, oh, cool, that's why it's called Bonanza. You have Bonanza, and then I didn't know that there were other forms either.
There's other Bonanzas,
yeah. So to discover other Bonanzas, and then I was like, oh man, this is so cool. I've since gone back and listened to some podcasts that came out around the time these trailers were released, and the trailers showed this stuff off, and people are talking about it, and it's like, wow, what a way for me to go in and just be like shocked at the first Bonanza transformation, and be able to be surprised every time I got a new one. It was cool, and the skill tree was surprising too. I was not expecting that, and so that was cool to have. Do you remember any of the early skills you invested in, or what you prioritized?
I pretty much went by the recommended priorities because they were generally right, and acquired those skills as they suggested them. So, and then after that, I pretty much just acquired everything else that was left. And then, you start to get up to a point where like, okay, now my punches aren't hitting so hard. Maybe I should upgrade my strength a little bit, or, but then again, the game will kind of start to suggest it. So I've kind of just been sticking with that, and that's actually been working for me. But it just kind of like incentivizes me to go seek out all of these Bonandium gems. But then also, I'll go out on a kick, and I'll go ahead and grab all the fossils that have shown up on my map, and I like how every layer uses each of those fossils as its own currency. I think Odyssey did something similar with its currency systems. So, that kind of just makes each biome kind of feel more distinct. And so you can really kind of just sink time into each of these areas and enjoy it. And it's just an awesome experience. I've really been impressed with Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've only acquired one of the Bonanzas, but I've seen some of the other forms, and they look absolutely bananas.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool to see the new powers you get and everything, and it's been a very, very fun game. And it's a game that I think you can sink into as much or as little as you want. It would be fairly easy to go through and speed run this game, I feel like. But if you want to take your time, every layer has its own set of like sub puzzles and missions and stuff to go through. So I've been trying to clear as much of that stuff as I can before I move on, and it's been a really cool time.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's been great, and I've heard that the end game is also crazy. So,
I want to know what's in there. What are they doing? I got to get there.
Yeah. Right? It's like you got to be a part of that experience. Yeah. Once you hear like that, so
There's one game I want to shout out quickly, and I haven't played it on Switch 2 yet, but Hogwarts Legacy that we released an episode recently. That has gotten a Switch 2 edition, and it looks and runs very well. A tip I want to send out, and I haven't done this yet, but if you put a Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch cartridge into your Switch 2, you can go to the eShop and you can upgrade to the Switch 2 edition for $10. And when you do that, it downloads the game digitally, and then you no longer need the cart, which means if you borrow the game either from a friend, or what I'm doing is I requested it from my local library, I'm going to put it into my Switch, get the upgrade, download it, and you effectively have Switch 2 Hogwarts Legacy for $10. So something to recommend. If anyone wants a cheaper way to check out that game, or if you want a digital version of it, portable version, or if you just want to get it and avoid giving a lot more money to J.K. Rowling, then this is a way to kind of circumvent that. So it's kind of a funny loophole, and I feel like they either weren't paying attention when they made this that you could do this, or they realized, okay, the $10 upgrades are going to be worth it for us because we've already sold. I mean, it was the best-selling game of the year it came out. I think it was 2023 it released. So it's not like the game hasn't already made a ridiculous amount of money. So
Exactly.
it's a cool way to kind of get around the system and get a portable version of that game if you want one.
Huh. I might do that. Well, if only they had cross progression, because I've already started a file on. See, and like that's why I kind of I'm kind of sad Megan isn't here. She didn't buy a Switch 2, because I know she would have wanted to talk about Hogwarts Legacy. Because I'm like, well, I can't justify buying it because, well, yeah, I don't want to give more money to J.K. Rowling, one, but two, I already have a save file on my PS5, so. Yeah, I'm not interested in starting over.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in starting over either, which is why I want to do this and I do want to start a file, but not to beat the game. It's just there for vibes. And so it's going to be, if I get into bed at night and I just want to like relax, I want to open up my game, I want to go, handle my plants, I want to pet some creatures, I want to ride my broomstick around Hogwarts, and then I can be like, okay, I've had fun living in this world, now let's put it away and go to bed or something. And that's predominantly why I want to check this game out on Switch.
Yeah, and like, I definitely would have bought the Switch 2 edition if, we were doing a Hogwarts Legacy episode then.
Yeah.
like honestly, like if I had been as far as I was back then, no, I would have just started over on Switch 2, because it does feel like the definitive way to play it right now, especially with the mouse controls. That would have sold me. The mouse controls on Switch 2 so far have impressed me.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because at a PAX East demo for Bravely Default Flying Fairy Remaster, there are some mini games that use mouse controls. So I was able to practice around with that, but I have not really used a game, or at least parts of a game, that use the mouse controls heavily. So I wanted to ask about your experience and what games have you played that have used them really well?
Cyberpunk 2077 was one of them that used mouse controls really well. I've heard Hogwarts Legacy does them, but obviously I haven't tried that one. Mario Paint, which was released on the Super Nintendo, Nintendo Classics, but exclusively for Switch 2 because of the mouse controls. They worked there, actually. That was really fun. I sunk a little bit of time just designing shit on Mario Paint and checking out all of the little extra features. Let me think. I know Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster has some mini games that use them, but I haven't come across any of those. And I did buy that game. I've been playing through quite a bit of it. I thought that game was pretty fun too. I'd never played Bravely Default before, so it's a fun RPG with a cool little gimmick. The whole Brave and Default system.
Yeah, it was fun when I played the demo at PAX East. Those mini games were really cool, and I was surprised how well the mouse controls worked. There's one game that I really want a Switch 2 update for to use mouse controls, and that's Minecraft. Because I predominantly have played Minecraft on PC. It's probably my most played game ever. And I bought it on Switch eventually just to have a portable version of it. And I picked it up the other day and I was playing it and I'm like, this is still fun. This is like, if I have to go to wait in line somewhere, Minecraft is just the perfect thing for me to dive into. I want mouse controls so badly because that will make it perfect for me on Switch, and I will play so much on Switch 2 if we get a Minecraft update. So I hope that comes down eventually.
Definitely. I would love to see a Switch 2 edition of Minecraft. That would be perfect. Like you said, the mouse controls would really honestly do it for me. I would play it on Switch 2 because I don't know. I'm kind of I'm a Java edition guy. Like that's like really the only Minecraft that I have a lot of experience with. So I feel like just like starting over with like Switch 2, something designed and optimized for that, that would be an optimum way to experience the game. I'm curious if the ports of Fortnite and Apex on Switch 2 use mouse controls.
I don't know. I have to look into that.
Yeah, me too. Because, I haven't really played very much of either of those games. Just a little bit on various consoles.
Yeah, pretty much same here. I know, so there are a bunch of third-party games and stuff that you've played. You've had a lot more experience than I have, but one of the games that you did tell me about, you dove into Shadow Labyrinth a bit. How does Shadow Labyrinth?
Yeah. Shadow Labyrinth is good. It's just a solid experience. I really haven't dug too deeply into it. I think I hit a few points where I was just like, it's too difficult, and I don't really care to keep going because I could be that way. But it's a solid Metroidvania game. I like the little mechanic of turning into Pac-Man whenever you come into contact with the rail. And you become the little like Pac-Man, just like the arcade game, for a little while and handle it for a little bit, and it's cool. So it's interesting. I wonder if like at some point during development they were like, why don't we just go ahead and make this a Pac-Man game?
Yeah. So not to selfishly plug myself, but I had the chance to demo this game at PAX East this year, and I have a preview up on Tech Raptor if anyone wants to check that out. Although you can now look at a lot of coverage for it. But there's I had a lot of fun with it and what I was experiencing, and I think I probably played it on a PS5, so I haven't seen the Switch 2 version of it specifically, but it was fun for the time that I had with it, and I got to sit down with the one of the developers. Oh man, I got his business card. I was like, "What's your official title?" And his title, he laughed when he told me because it was like Pac-Man brand ambassador and marketing or something like that. And I was like, so when you were growing up and thinking about your future, do you ever think that was going to be your title? And he was like, absolutely not. There was no way such a specific thing to bring in. So I was like, oh, cool. So, but he got to tell me a little bit about the game, the development, having the rights to Pac-Man, being able to build it out. And then I kind of forget what came first. Were they trying to do a Pac-Man game with Metroidvania elements, or did they want Metroidvania and then they realized Pac-Man might fit well into it? So it's a very funny and quirky design for a game, but it was cool. I know I had fun with it, and I'm excited that it's available on Switch too. I think it's a cool one for people to check out.
Yeah, definitely. Another game that I've played and I've actually sunk a little bit of time into is Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. I've played a few Yakuza games, but I haven't finished any of them. Just a little bit of 7 and Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, really. No, I played the Infinite Wealth demo, but Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, again, another game that runs consistently at 4K 60. And I'm honestly kind of getting into the story of Kazuma Kiryu. I did watch one episode of the Yakuza series on Amazon. I watched the Takashi Miike film adaptation of Yakuza as well. And I even purchased Yakuza Kiwami because I just kind of wanted to just get a jump start on this franchise at some point. I'm like, yeah, maybe we'll do an episode or something. But then I heard that they're doing Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza Kiwami 2, and that's coming to Switch 2. And I purchased Yakuza Kiwami, which was the Switch 1 version of the game, but there'll be just a small paid upgrade for the Switch 2 edition when that comes out. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should go ahead and like finish Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. But it's been a fun game so far. Just kind of taking it slowly, walking around. I love the open world nature of it, and just very smooth.
That's awesome. I've never played a Yakuza game before, and there are parts of me that want to get into it, and then other parts that are a little intimidated because I just feel like they're so long, there's so many of them. I don't, even really know where to begin. If I were to jump into a Yakuza adventure, what do you recommend I start with, and what are some things I should know?
Honestly, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut.
Okay.
If you just want to get a start on the franchise in general. Now, like if you're a fan of RPGs, I would say Yakuza 7 or Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because I mean that's just a straight, turn-based RPG that kind of reminds me a little bit of Persona, a little bit. But combined with Yakuza. So if that sounds like your thing, go with that, right? But because that's kind of also a clean start on the franchise. But if you're just looking at the franchise in general, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is a perfect starting point. Because it's the start of the experience. You've got Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza Kiwami 2, which would be the next 2 points of that experience, also coming soon. So it's perfect.
Nice. All right. I will keep that in mind because I feel like that will be an adventure I want to get into, and not to get into my own personal gaming habits, but I want to wrap up Donkey Kong Bonanza. September, I really want to dive into Alan Wake 2 because I've been craving playing that game for a while and I haven't. And then I'm leaving all of October free for Ghost of Yotei, and I am diving fully into that. So
yes,
it's going to be a good fall of gaming. I might pick up Kirby Air Riders in November. I haven't fully committed to that yet, but it looks like a lot of fun, and I think it would be cool to check out.
Yeah, exactly. Same. I'm like, well, I'll pick it up, but like I'm not gonna sink a lot of time into it probably, but
definitely.
But yeah, no, just been a consistent experience with these games so far. I mean, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, I even heard actually had some controversial story changes. Like actual characters revived that for no reason and shit, things like that, retcons or whatever that people weren't happy with. But other than that, it's the definitive experience. As far as other titles go, I talked about Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster.
Let's go!
What else? There also the collection of Nintendo GameCube games on Switch 2.
Yeah, we got Wind Waker, F-Zero, Soul Calibur's on there, right? And there might be one or two more, but it's we've been waiting for GameCube for a long time, and so it was so much fun. And so many people have been clowning for Wind Waker HD to come to Switch, and Nintendo delivered in the most monkey paws way of letting us get the original. I've jumped into these games. I've played a little bit. F-Zero, just as difficult as I remember it being. I'm crashing and blowing up constantly. Wind Waker is a lot of fun. The camera controls are a little dated for me, so I haven't played a ton of that yet. But it's cool, and I got the GameCube controller for the Switch 2 as well to make sure that I've got that. So I'm excited for them to expand that library because there are a lot of really cool stuff that have been locked on GameCube that will be fun to bring forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, really coming forward here. And they've had a couple updates since. They just launched Chibi Robo. I tried that out, and that was that was pretty fun. I've never played that game before, but it's a fun little GameCube game. Kind of reminds me of Katamari. I don't know, the vibe. F-Zero GX was cool. I've never played that before. A lot of racing games on Switch 2. Between this, Mario Kart World, Fast Fusion, which was one of the only launch titles that was an exclusive to Switch 2 that was a new game. I got it because it was like $18 or $17.
Nice. Nintendo's been really funny. Some of the reports I'm seeing out of Gamescom, which was going on, is there's not a lot of Switch 2 being shown off on the floor outside of the Nintendo booth. At Nintendo, it's all Switch 2. But anything third party, any other developers, it's like they didn't get dev kits, and they probably didn't. I feel like Nintendo kept this thing under wraps. There were certain companies that got them, like CDPR for Cyberpunk, but a lot of studios, I think, just weren't given the opportunity to develop for the system, and that's why it's getting we're delayed in seeing a lot more third-party stuff coming. But I think we'll see it eventually. But the launch window has been a little not as expansive as it could be.
Yeah. I mean, and we're getting, for instance, Elden Ring from FromSoft, which is I think almost ready to go, but just suffering from some issues apparently in handheld with its performance. So they got to work out some kinks for handheld mode. But if they can get that running on Switch 2, that'll be a great benchmark. I mean, they're saying that, docked, it's consistent 30 frames. So that's really good to hear that you can get something like that. Like I said, I'm looking for more games that can run at 60 frames, but a game as big as Elden Ring on Switch 2 at 30 is still really, really impressive. If it can do that, that's really going to show what this console's capable of. But, it goes back to what you said. It's like only certain developers, I think, really were made aware of this. And have started working on this.
Exactly.
But FromSoft also, knowing what the Switch 2 is capable of is, developing a Switch 2 exclusive. So that's going to be optimized for the hardware. So I think that's going to be another title. I think that'll be like the next Metroid Prime 4, if Metroid Prime 4 is what they say it is, right? In terms of, what it can deliver. So
I think it'll be definitely interesting to see what some of these companies do and how the games run. We'll be very curious to see what the final version of Elden Ring is like, because it's it is I think a tough game to optimize for the Switch 2. So we'll see how quickly they can go along.
No kidding. I mean, we're going to face some of the same challenges, for instance, that come with optimizing games for PC. Sometimes that takes a while.
Absolutely. I downloaded the Mina the Hollower demo, which is from Yacht Club Games, who also developed Shovel Knight. This is where Shovel Knight was very much like an NES inspired homage. This is very much Game Boy. And it was cool. Not super my vibe. The retro style games I think can be a little hit or miss for me. I feel like this is going to be extremely popular among the demographic of players who love this style of game, and I think that's awesome. But I played a little bit of the demo on Switch 2, and then I was like, I don't need to buy this game immediately. So I came off of it feeling, it's good, but probably not my style of game. But I know there are a lot of people really excited for this, excited to see Yacht Club Games make something outside of Shovel Knight. So I think it's going to be very cool to have this launching on Switch 2 as well. And I think that's an October release date, if I remember correctly.
Well, I know we also are getting Hollow Knight Silk Song, and I think that's coming out on Switch 2 in September.
That has been a long time in the making, and it's very funny that they just announced the release date to be very close off, which I think makes sense because people have been vying for this game for years and years now. So, it's a lot of people are going to be really excited for it. I might pick it up when it's released. I played a little bit of the first Hollow Knight, but it might be fun to check out Silk Song and see what everyone's going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think I think I went ahead actually and picked up Hollow Knight on Switch. It's just the Switch 1 version of the game, but I might play through that actually in anticipation, and so I can check out Hollow Knight Silk Song.
I'm gonna go into my library right now and download Hollow Knight because I bought it so long ago, didn't really get into it, but now that I've got it, I can get it onto my Switch too. I'm like, I should probably give it another chance and play more of it.
Hell yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, I encourage that, but
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a good amount to play through. I know you went through, so not only I feel like you were going through. You went through the eShop. There were a lot of demos that you downloaded that you played. You picked up a lot of
Yeah.
games when the console launched.
Yeah.
Have been kind of investing a lot of stuff. A game that I still will laugh at you for buying is the Switch 2 Welcome Tour because I will not give my money for that game. But you said it's actually pretty cool and it's a fun game, and I think it's a shame that there are probably a lot of people who are not going to experience it because it has that $10 price point.
Okay, so Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Here we go. All right. Um, so okay, yeah, no, it should have been packed in with the Switch 2. Let's be real. I mean, we got Astro's Playroom on the PS5, and that's a way better game. And okay, I'm not expecting it to be Astro's Playroom, which spawned Astrobot, which won Game of the Year, right? We're not going to expect that, but so this is an experience that if it's a tech demo of what the Switch 2 is capable of, and that's what it is, it should have been packed in. But when I'm reviewing games that were launch titles for the Switch 2, especially games that were exclusive, that were new games, it was just this and Mario Kart World and Fast Fusion, I think.
Fair.
And this was $10. So it's like the cheapest games that I could buy, and then there's third-party stuff, too, like Bravely Default and Yakuza. But yeah, I'm like, this one's $10, and I'll tell you what, it delivered a solid day's worth of content for me. I spent 1 day of my life playing the game, and what I mean by 1 day is like an after work day. Until I went to bed and played Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I finished the game. I didn't complete it, but I finished it. I did everything that it had to offer. I had all the peripherals necessary. I bought the fucking camera attachment and tried that out.
Look, the camera is actually a lot cooler than I expected because you and I played around with some of the game chat stuff, and it ran very well. I shared my screen, so you're able to see me playing Mario Kart. It definitely lags. The video lags, but the game doesn't lag. So you can share and have everything run there. I would like to pick up a camera at some point too, because it was very funny seeing your face on your cart and then watching your expressions as I, red shelled you and blasted by. It was a lot of fun. So the camera seems like a silly accessory, but I actually want to get one at some point.
No kidding, man. The camera is silly, but you can connect any USB camera apparently to the Switch 2 and it makes it work. But I went all in on the experience. I'm like, no, I'm putting my money into this experience. I'm gonna live all of it Nintendo. I'm putting my life in your hands. And hey, Nintendo delivered. I tried out all the hardwares, all the gimmicks. I have the Pro controller. I'll tell you what, it's the most solid controller of this generation.
Yeah.
Like the Pro controller is honestly it's like the best video game controller in terms of ergonomics and everything,
I did not expect the Switch 2 Pro controller to feel better than the Switch 1 Pro controller, but it feels much more solidly built. There's good weight to it. You have the extra buttons on the back that are helpful. It's a really great controller, and we got ours before the price increases came. Those are now more expensive than they were at launch in the crazy times that we're living in.
True that. I went all in on the experience right then. And a little bit I've dabbled since, but with the I learned all about the functionality of, for instance, the Pro controller. and the camera and all of these things in the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Like, they had whole lessons on all of this where they talked about the ergonomics of the controller. And, and they had all these mini games that tested out all of these various experiences, the mouse controls. 120 frames per second. You want to know a game that uses 120 frames per second? Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour has a tech demo, like a mini game where you try to guess whether an object is moving at 120 frames or 60 frames or 60 or 20.
It's so funny because I've seen people react to that and be like, well, that's how I learned that I apparently don't see more than 60 frames per second, because at a certain point, everything just looked the same to me.
It did actually, there were points where, I got it wrong. Like, I couldn't quite tell with that small clip of that ball moving at that speed.
I think you get diminishing returns. 30 to 60 is big, and then above 60, it kind of diminishes. I know there are a lot of competitive FPS players who will come at me for saying that. And everyone's eyes are different. I have a friend who claims she can't see 4K, and I'm like, what does that mean? I don't understand what you mean by that. But everyone's eyes are going to be different, and I'm more interested in how the experience feels on like a human level versus what are my benchmark specs at the end of the day. And so, if it's hitting 90, 120, 144, whatever it is, it's cool. I just want the game to run well and feel good playing it. I do think a game like the next Splatoon will be wild if they're able to get it running at 120. I think that's going to be a fun and chaotic
For
game
real.
to have with that. So hopefully they'll be able to crack that for the future.
Hopefully patch Mario Kart World, because that's a game that could use 120.
It definitely could. I would love that at 120.
I think like Tekken might be coming or something. Any of the fighting franchises, if they head to Switch 2, definitely. I'm just ready to see what it's capable of. But you want to know a human experience. A human experience is an afternoon after work spent diving into the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Just sometimes I had to sometimes I had to do a mini game or something that required me to use my TV, which is my preferred way of playing, TV with the Pro controller for most games, depending on what it is. If I want to use mouse controls, then Joy-Cons, but otherwise, So I'm trying all of these things. Some games I'm like, okay, I got to use the Joy-Con. Sometimes I have to play in handheld mode or tabletop mode. So I'm switching between all of these things and experiencing the Nintendo Switch 2, taking out my Joy-Cons, sliding them in the little the wrist attachments, which there's a whole section about in the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, let me tell you.
Amazing. Well, I mean, it sounds like you know more about the console than I do because you played the Welcome Tour. So that's where it's like, why wasn't this a pack-in? It would have been actually helpful for people to check out and experience the tech behind this game. But they locked it behind the price. It makes no sense.
Okay, so about the price point. So here's what I think, and I might have said this before. I'm not sure. I know I've said it before to people, but for $450, $500 for that plus Mario Kart World, of course, which, I mean, you're going to get Mario Kart World if you're getting this at launch, because what else is there to play? And, unless you're dead set on getting it physical, you're going to go ahead and get the bundle. So for $500, right? And it's a console capable of 4K 60. It's shown that it does that. 120 frames. It's capable. It's shown. We just don't really know. It's just behind a price point.
Yep.
But other than that, like no part of me has not felt that this experience was less than what I expected. I went into it with the expectations, and Nintendo delivered. Do I wish that we see a port of Wind Waker HD rather than the port of the GameCube version? Yes. But I'm happy that I dived in and spent an hour or two just completely nostalgic. It's just that nostalgic factor for me for that game, whereas I can play the Ocarina of Time version and feel like that's a separate experience from the Ocarina of Time 3D version, sure. But Wind Waker, it's the HD version is the superior experience, and they could literally just port the Wii U version and I'd be fine. Get it running
Yeah.
consistent at get it running at 4K 60. Wonderful.
That would be great, and I hope that we still get that eventually. I definitely want that and Twilight Princess HD.
Yes.
And I just think that would be a great increased enhancement to the library. I mean, that would be really cool.
And hear me
yeah.
out. Oracle Games remake done
Yes.
in the same way that they did Link's Awakening.
I feel like those are on the way. Nintendo has been doing off and on a new game, and then they'll do a remake, and then a new game and a remake. So I feel like we are approaching a remake part of that cycle, and I think we will. The Oracle games are the ones that make sense to come next, so we'll see if we get them or not. I sure hope we do.
And Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is coming up. So that's something I'm really excited about. That's an experience that is exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. And I loved both the original Hyrule Warriors game, which I've played every version of as it happens, both on Wii U, 3DS, and Switch. And it runs better on the Switch 2 just because of the increased frame rate, whether or not the game was patched to do that. Same with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that experience. I bought this console for Zelda, for Metroid, and so far the console has delivered and is delivering.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I know there are things like I think you checked out No Man's Sky on Switch too.
Why, yes, Dan, I did play No Man's Sky on Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm sorry that while we were recording this, I didn't respond to you and tell you about it. We were having technical issues at the time, and I couldn't hear you for a few seconds. And by the time I could, I had already started talking about other games, completely skipping over No Man's Sky 2, which is a tragedy. So I had to come in and talk about it now. While I was editing this in post, I just decided to throw in a little recording talking about No Man's Sky on Switch 2, since it is one of the original games that we played during Season 1 of Collateral Gaming. And even back then, the game had been out for a few years, and it had improved quite a bit since launch when I had first played it. But in the years since, the game is continuing to receive updates, including Beacon which coincided with the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, as well as Voyagers. As of the time of recording and editing this, a new update has just come out. So plenty of new content for No Man's Sky players in 2025, and I there's a new game on the horizon. So hopefully look forward to seeing that on Switch 2. As far as the Switch 2 version of the game, and how it plays. This was one of the first titles that I played on launch day of Switch 2, and specifically because we had talked about it during our first season, and I had not really had a chance to jump back into No Man's Sky since then. But went ahead and started up a new file. The game does not use mouse controls. I would say that is the one disappointing thing about it, and something they could maybe add in an update. I think they may actually have touchscreen controls, but I didn't try that out. The gyro controls are pretty good. The game is very responsive. Apparently, a huge improvement over the Switch 1 version, which I haven't played. But it runs at 30 to 40 frames per second, between 1080p and 1440p, depending on whether you're playing it docked or handheld. Just a really solid port of the game, running as well as it can on the hardware. I mean, if they could unlock it up to 60, I mean, I guess that would actually be running as well as it can. But for a third-party title that's as massive as No Man's Sky is, that is pretty impressive that they've got it running, between 30 and 40 frames. And it was a blast to just jump into that game again and go around from world to world. If I am looking to jump into that game anytime in the future, including the new Voyagers update, I may very well go ahead and open up my Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game. So, Dan, other than that, a couple other games that I played on the console were Raito Remastered and No Sleep for Kaname from AI, the Somnium Files. I actually played through the original AI, the Somnium Files game in preparation for this. It was cheaper on the PS5, so I played it on there. Loved it. It was a fun game from the same team behind Danganronpa, as I understand it, or the same studio. Fun murder mystery title game with a twist and parallel timelines and shit. It was really, really cool. And so this is kind of a interquel between it and the sequel. And it launched on Nintendo Switch 2. That was a fun game. I actually have almost finished it. It was I think it was only $50. So it was actually, for that, it's a fairly short game, but definitely well worth the experience.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I've loved about this experience, and I know I feel like I'm kind of contradicting myself. I said earlier there hasn't been a ton at launch. At the same time, we've gotten some decent variety in the games, even if the number of games we've gotten has not been huge. There's a little bit for everyone, and I think that there's some games that kind of show off what the Switch 2 is capable of, and there's a lot of cool opportunities for people to kind of jump in and play around with some different things. I especially love that we're getting free game demos for a good amount of this stuff, and people can check things out and try stuff out to see if they like it and what they want to do. So there's a lot of to kind of keep ourselves occupied. I've been using the Switch 2 a lot more compared to my other consoles over the past few months, and it's been nice having this new device to be able to enjoy and play with, and it's very exciting to see what the future of this thing's going to be.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I played Raito Remastered. I mentioned that one earlier, but it's another game, runs consistent frame rate. It's another Atlas game from the same studio behind the Megami Tensei, well, part of the Megami Tensei franchise, actually. And it's a remaster of a spin-off of that franchise, and it's actually a action RPG. So you and I, we've both played some of the Persona games, so that was a fun little kind of spin-off of that universe.
Nice. Yeah, that's I haven't checked those games out yet, but I've wanted to because I love Persona 5 Royal and Persona 3 Reload, so I would be very interested in checking out more of what that studio's been capable of.
Yeah, definitely. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. I didn't play it on Switch 2. Actually, it was on Game Pass, which was free, so I played it on Game Pass. And I'm just like, I've played Skate, and I just feel like Skate is the superior game, so I'm just more excited about the new Skate than I am Tony Hawk. But that was kind of fun, a fun afternoon, and I'm excited that experience can be had on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I don't know, did you play either of Zelda Link's Awakening or Echoes of Wisdom on Switch 2?
No, I haven't tried those out yet, but I do know they have enhancements, which I'm very happy about because I didn't really notice it in Link's Awakening, but Echoes of Wisdom, the frame rate drops were constant, it felt like. So that game running at a smoother frame rate, they both really needed that addition. Yeah.
So I have my original Link's Awakening cartridge, and if I played it on Switch 2, I would be able to play the Nintendo Switch 2, I would be able to play it with the Nintendo Switch 2 update free of charge, but I can't find it. My original Nintendo Switch cartridge, which is one of the only games I had physical on Switch 1 by chance. But I was able to play Echoes of Wisdom a little bit, and I started a new file over having completed the game before on Switch, and it was a much more it was an improved experience. I think mainly it just runs at an increased resolution.
Yeah, no, but that's great. I mean, to have it to have that upgrade and have it be sharper, I mean, that's what we want to see, and that's cool to have.
Definitely. So, hell yeah, man. All right, well, I guess that'll sort of wrap it up, unless there was anything else that you wanted to mention.
I don't think so. I'm just reviewing our list. I think we hit on pretty much everything, and I know I've said it before, but I'm just excited for what the future of this thing is going to be. I think Nintendo's going to bring out a lot of bangers on this console, and it's going to be really cool. And I'm just excited to have friends who are going on this journey with me and who have also invested day one. So yeah, stay tuned for future episodes because there's going to be a lot of cool Nintendo stuff coming out of here.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Deltarune. I bought that on Switch too. Played a little bit of it. Really fun. Really enjoyed it. Felt that maybe I should play Undertale first, so I bought that, which has a Switch 1 version. I don't think it's optimized for Switch 2 or anything, but I played some of that as well. Let me see. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. So I bought the demo thinking, or got the demo thinking that I would be playing the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game, but I think it's just the Switch 1 version. But I actually was really impressed by that. It was a classic 3D remake of a classic JRPG, and I liked playing through the demo of that. Also, the Game Builder Garage demo, which I mentioned before, has mouse controls. That was a fun little demo to play. So, but yeah. I agreed with everything you said, Dan. I mean, it's been a fun experience. I'm glad that I put the money into it that I did. I'm happy to see where that goes in the future with it. And yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2, I think, is a tremendous success, and I think it's worth the $500 price point. Sue me.
Yeah, I mean, consoles are getting more expensive. Everything is getting more expensive, but look, a game console is something that you buy once every 6 or 7 years at this point, unless you want to buy the special editions or an OLED or whatever. I opted, in the case of the PlayStation 5, I did not get a PS5 Pro because I was like, the base model is good for me, and at this point, I'll just wait for 6. But
I read your article about that on Tech Raptor.
Oh, thanks for checking that out. Yeah, I feel like I made some people mad with my words on that. But yeah, it's there are a lot of people who were very upset about the price point of the Switch 2, and I'm not going to, dictate or preach to how anybody uses their money or saves or anything like that. And also, I get the economy is just tough right now for a lot of people. But for me, when a console is released, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's like, okay, it's been 5 years since I bought a PlayStation 5, so I can now save and buy a Switch 2. Like that's how I do it.
Yeah.
But I'm also a human adult with money and savings and everything. There are plenty of people, especially people who are younger, who are not as established or who are struggling, finding decent paying jobs and everything. So I understand that, and I do think there should be price points for everybody. But I definitely don't regret. I also bought the Mario Kart World bundle, and that $500 was very well worth it, and continues to be, and will continue to be as we pick up new games for it.
Definitely, 100%. I mean, yeah, man, I bought that. I bought the fucking wheels. I read about the wheels on the Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour. And honestly, I mean, the takeaway here is that Nintendo actually put a level of attention into the ergonomics. Things that make you think, well, duh. I mean, don't other people do that, or haven't they done that in the past? Well, I don't know, but the point is Nintendo did do it, and they're talking about it, and just the way that they've designed these controllers, these accessories, and everything, and the internals of the console itself. And so that's why I think, the price point is justified, especially because I think the price point of the Switch 2 itself has not increased. And you could choose whether or not to dish out on the accessories. You can decide whether or not that those are worth it. But I went all in on the experience, and I did it for the podcast, man. And I'm not disappointed.
Hey, we got to do it for the content, right? And make sure that that everything is ready to go there. That is how I justify some of my purchases as well. I'm like, well, I can podcast about it, I can write about it, may as well make the investment. So it's cool to have a platform to be able to help us justify things that we would probably just buy anyways. But it makes it worth it to be able to do stuff like this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. it makes it worth it. It's like, yeah, that's something I wanted to check out at some point, and now I have now I have a chance to check it out. You know, it's like, hey, Gears of War Reloaded just launched on Game Pass. That's free, and I've been meaning to check out the Gears of War franchise. So it's like, yeah, man, I want to fucking check that out. Like, so
Totally. Yeah, let's match up online and play through some stuff together, because that'll be great.
fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for sure. But Dan, if you want to go ahead and plug what's going on with Victims and Villains and Tech Raptor, where we could find you, and yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you can catch everything that Victims and Villains is doing wherever you get your podcasts. Follow them on social media. I don't have the latest on what's going on with them. Josh is going to be so mad at me that I don't have specific things to plug for them. But I know that we're entering the fall. I know there's always a big push on horror films and everything over there. So yeah, keep an eye out. And they're doing some really cool stuff and working to get mental health resources and stuff for people who need them. And you can also check me out over at Tech Raptor. I'm trying to get more active over there. I haven't posted in a little while, but I think with this fall, some of the new games that are coming out, especially Ghost of Yote, I'll be motivated to get in and start doing some features and opinion pieces and things like that. Maybe even some guide work if you need some assistance on how to get some stuff through on some of the new games that are coming up. So yeah, keep an eye out for me over there. And that is pretty much it for me. That's where you can find me. So I'll keep things updated as I go along.
Hell yeah, man. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's actually been a great experience too. You know, we actually had a couple sessions, playing Mario Kart World together on the Switch 2 together using the game chat. Seeing my dumb little face on the carts.
Super fun. Yeah, that was great. And it makes me want to play Mario Kart Online with more people, because that was honestly a great experience. The original Switch and even the Wii U to an extent, the online was not perfect, and although Splatoon for me has always worked exceptionally well, so I think that's the exception. So to have a game and game chat that actually works pretty well, like a built-in Discord on Switch, it's cool. And if you got a Switch 2 and haven't tried out online yet, definitely go for it, because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is a lot of fun. Actually, you and I were talking about it, how consistent the performance was online, and that's something that is a necessity for a modern console, and that's what the Nintendo Switch 2 managed to do, and it managed to even kind of have a social experience. You and I did game chat together and shit, and being able to actually kind of branch out and try gaming experiences that I maybe would not have tried, because I'm not like a fan of racing games and shit. But it's like, no, man, I'm having a blast with it. So hell yeah. As far as Collateral gaming content goes, that was the conclusion of season 7 of Collateral Gaming. So thank you to all of our listeners for listening to all of our episodes. We had a blast. I remember calling this the golden season earlier on, because we were covering the Doom franchise. We covered, actually, in total, Doom, the original 1993 game, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and Doom the Dark Ages, Super Metroid. Yeah, we did Ocarina of Time together. Dan, you joined us for Hogwarts Legacy. Mm-hmm. We did this season, so yeah, it's been a fun time, man, and I'm looking forward to the next season. We're gonna have our anniversary episode sometime this month, and it's going to be a Let's Play doing Zelda 4 Swords. So look forward to that, and then the premiere of season 8 of Collateral Gaming will be Fallout 4. We're going to have a 2-part episode featuring Mr. Andrew Orozco, who has podcasted with us before. And Megan should be joining us for that as well. So I'm excited to get into Fallout. I actually started watching the Fallout series as well in tandem, and I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 4. I'm going to devote quite a bit more time to get ready for that, so that we can have that ready in September, hopefully. And then we can get ready for our Spooky Month content in October. I know we are going to be covering Resident Evil Code Veronica. I think I want to make that the Halloween special, and then we'll have other content as well. So everything's kind of in limbo. Still waiting on a release date on Metroid Prime 4. That's really thrown a crux and things.
Absolutely, I think that we are going to. I'm going to predict December, maybe even December 31st. I could see them launching that on New Year's, and I think that would be a very Nintendo thing to do. So I'm going to put my prediction down as December 31st this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a very accurate prediction. I could see that happening. And it's like, if that happens, yeah, we'll just do it in January. It's like I have something else scheduled for January. I'll switch it around and we'll do Metroid Prime 4. So but yeah, it's been a good year for gaming. It's been a good season of Collateral gaming. Thanks to Dan for being a part of it.
Yeah.
With
Thank
me.
you for having me. This has been an absolute blast. And as someone who does not run their own podcast, it's always fun to come and crash other people's and just party with you guys and talk about video games. It's the best thing.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, as for Collateral Cinema, we did release our season finale, which was also our 100th episode. We did a redux on The Room. I missed the first episode that we did on The Room, although I did make it for our movie commentary that we have as a Patreon exclusive. But we did a redux for our 100th episode and season finale on Collateral Cinema, and that was a lot of fun. We had Derek from Ratchet Book Club on that. And we also recorded an At the Movies episode for Superman and for Fantastic Four for Steps. So go check out those. On Collateral Gaming, I know we recently also did our last episode was a game launch episode on Death Stranding 2. We're kind of late on it, but finally got it out. So a lot of new movies and new games that have come out really this summer.
Yeah, it has been a busy season, and with you covering games and movies, I don't know how you have been able to keep up as well as you have. And I know you said some of this stuff has been delayed, but definitely not your guys' fault. There's just been way too much cool stuff coming out to be able to do releases on everything.
No kidding. Well, all right. Well, you can check out Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have all of that in the show notes. We also do have a Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, and you can check out our merch store on Dashery and get you some Collateral Media swag. I enjoy wearing, they're my favorite shirts, my Collateral Cinema, Collateral Gaming, and Collateral Media shirts. I wear them all the time. Wearing my Collateral Gaming shirt now. And I recommend the experience to anyone. It was a solid sell. But we'll have all that in the show notes. With all that being said, I've been Ashley Chancellor.
I've been Dan Rockwood.
This was Collateral Gaming, and we are out.
Rainbow, so
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.